I just want to say thank you for joining us for the Dunn Chamber Business Success Seminar. It's a continuation of the boot camp offered by the Dr. David Bradham Success Academy. And thank you to Dr. Bradham for coming to us with this coronavirus business boot camp. We hope that this is proving to be a great resource for our businesses and our members. And I know last session I wrote a ton of stuff down and shared it with some folks, so hopefully others will be taking advantage of this as well in the future. But with further ado, just a couple housekeeping. I think since it's just the three of us, it'll be pretty easy. Keep yourself muted unless you want to ask a question. I don't know, David, would you prefer Chris wait to the end to ask questions or ask it when he has them?
Probably just wait to the end, write them down, and we can discuss them all at one time.
Perfect.
Let's do it
that way. We can do that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Bradham, and thank you again for joining us, and we'll open up again at the end for the question and answer session.
Great. Chris, thanks for joining. And you know, when I do my spinal care classes in my own my chiropractic business, you know, sometimes in the past I would have 15, 20 people in my small waiting room. Sometimes I'd have one. And I always felt like that if it was 1 or 15, whoever was there deserved to have the right information. So, you know, I'm going to talk to you just like I would have talked to 50 people. It doesn't really make a difference to me. And then anybody that, you know, that gets this recording obviously can benefit from it as well. So this is a business boot camp, as it says. And one of the things that I talked with Heather about is, you know, being in small business for well over 2 decades, it's not easy. I mean, we've got our challenges, and sometimes you do feel like you're on an island out there. And this is not to say anything negative about other businesses. This is just to say that we do have a unique set of circumstances. If we don't work, we don't feed our families. And that's just the way it goes. And you do sometimes feel like you're all alone. And so that's the main reason I'm doing this, because I do live in this area and have my whole life. I left just long enough to go to school and came right back again. So I've got roots here. And there's a lot of reasons I want to see small business owners succeed. And I'm involved on the city council in town. And so I just have a lot of reasons to want to see our area be successful. And so that's why I'm doing this. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. And I want to start out with saying just a little bit about myself. And I don't want to spend much time with this, because no one cares about me. We care about you, care about what you got to do for you. But I've been in practice for 23 years. And the profession that I'm in is one of the greatest gifts to healthcare, in my opinion. I guess I'm biased, but we only see about 10% of the population. And that's pretty sad, honestly. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we could go into all the reasons for that, but that's not what this is about. But I point that out to say this, that whatever the average person in business has to do, we have to be much, much, much better in my field, because that's it, 10%. You know, some professions have access to, you know, basically 100% of the population. It doesn't mean they all visit that type of person, but it means they have access to them. An example of that would be a dentist, for instance. And this is not a slam on dentistry, because they work as hard as anybody. But, you know, most people out there are open to going to a dentist, right? It's just a matter of where you can afford it and this and that. But in chiropractic, it's a little different. We see about 10%. So I've had to work very hard to refine some of these skills that I've used in my business. Now, I'm also a business coach and a marketing strategist. And the reason I do that is because I've had so many people over the years, they would look at various things that I did and they would say, well, you think that would work for my business? And my answer would be, probably, let me just see. And so we would kind of track that and monitor that and see if we could replicate some of these same results that I was using in my business with their business. And the answer is, the vast majority of the time, the answer was yes, we could. And so people would ask me, well, can you help me do this in my donut shop business or in my naturopathic business or whatever? And the answer would be yes. And so we have. Now, I'm not going to go into all these awards. Nobody cares about that. But I just want you to know that, you know, we do know what we're doing here, and we've done it for a long time. I am an author. This is a little quick, little easy read, 45-minute business breakthroughs, which is essentially things that people can do in their business that can help get results. And Chris, I'll be happy to give you a copy of that if you want one. No charge for that. You can take it and read it. It's a good little read. Contributing editor, Six-Figure Coach magazine. That's just a magazine of small business owners that write articles for small business folks about certain successful things that they do. And I'm a contributing editor for that magazine. Member of the city council, coach and father. I just add that so that you know, because some people think, well, gosh, some of the things he's going to teach me, I have to work 24/7, never be at home, never. No, that's not it at all. I typically do what I do on 4.5 days a week. Now, I work hard when I'm at work, but bottom line is everything that I teach people in business are things that they can do, and their work life is just a piece of their life, not all of their life, okay? So let's dig right in here. And today's game plan is we're going to provide you with an actionable strategies that you can use starting today that are going to triple your leads, double your conversions, grow your revenue and profits exponentially. And what I want you to do, Chris, as you're sitting there, anybody at home, is I want you to rate your current situation, because some of the things that we talk about are going to be very applicable to your business. Some of them may not. And it's always one of the things that I learned from someone years ago. When I would go to a seminar in my field, I would take a business card, and what I would do is if I could write down 3 things that were pertinent and 3 things that were very, very informative and things that I could take actionable steps on, then it was considered a success. Even if, you know, I wrote down 90 things that were useless, if I could get 3 points, and I always consider that to be successful. So what you want to do as I go through and talk about these steps is you want to see how do these relate to your business. But I would ask that you think outside the box, because some things we may not think that we can use in our business, but in all actuality, there are things we could use if we made a few adjustments, okay? We're going to develop a roadmap that you can use this week to start improving your sales and marketing results. So in 60 seconds, and some of this is a review, Chris, and I would recommend that you go back and get a recording. I think Heather we can get your recording, I believe, of the one we did last time. So for the next few minutes, and we'll have a brief review of last time. Then we're going to start with brand new stuff. So if you kind of feel like you're walking in the middle of a movie, just get the video from her and she'll get you the previous stuff, okay? So, but in 60 seconds, you need to be able to tell people your name, what you do, what's working best in your business, and what's your biggest challenge. Now, let's go back to what you do. And this is one of the things we covered on the last one. Some people call this the elevator pitch. Call it whatever you want. But for instance, if somebody asks me what I do in terms of my chiropractic practice, then what you might expect me to say is I'm a chiropractor. But I don't say that. I typically say I get sick people well without drugs. I get sick people well without drugs. That's what I tell them. And the reason for that is because a chiropractor, that's who I am. That's not what I do. So if I say a chiropractor, I might as well say an attorney, a CPA. Those things are boring, and they don't do a whole lot to really expand your business. When I tell someone that, you know, I get sick people well without drugs, that leads to a natural follow-up question, which is going to be, well, how do you do that? All right, so you know you've had a good elevator pitch if you can follow up with or if they follow up with how do you do that? So they're basically begging me to tell them what I do and how I do it based on how I answer that question. So what you're going to need to make sure you do in your business is figure out a very good elevator pitch, you know, not gym instructor, not donut shop owner. You got to figure out how to do that effectively. That's really big, especially big when you're in settings such as Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, or wherever you might be, okay? The next thing is what's working best in your business. You need to know your strengths. What are you good at? But you also need to know what your biggest challenge is. Is it making payroll? Is it getting new clients? Is it, you know, affordability of services and people's expectations of what I do? You need to figure out what those challenges are and write them down so that you know what you're facing. 80-20 rule, 20% of what you do every day is generating 80% of the total revenue. And you're only doing a few things daily that make up most of your money. So these are the 5 areas that make up that 20%. And last week we discussed, I believe, the first 2 of these, but it's leads. And that means how we're going to get people that show an interest in the work that you do. Now that doesn't mean they're ready to necessarily buy from you or buy what you have to offer, but this just means they're interested. So if you own a gym, it might be people that have children that have moved to the area and they see that someone in Holly Springs has a gym. They see someone in, Benson has one. So why in the world would they want to come to you in Dunn? I mean, what makes you any different? So these are leads. And obviously the more leads you can get, the better off you are. Now, conversions. So the person that's moved to town that sees there's a gym in Holly Springs, sees there's a gym in Fuquay, sees there's one in Dunn, what's going to make them want to decide to go with the one in Dunn? That's called conversions. And there's a whole litany of things that we do to convert people. And again, these would be on the previous webinar. Today, we're going to go into transactions. That means how are we going to get people to buy more often? So if they buy one product, how can they buy 2 products or 3 products, or maybe a upscale product of what you have to offer, okay? The next one is higher prices. How can we increase prices in our business? And the following is more profits. How can we get more profits in our business with what we're doing? So small incremental changes produce big results. We talked about this some last time, and this is what's called a profit growth calculator. We'll talk about this a little bit more later, but this is a way for us to essentially be able to break down these different parts of our business. And most people are, excited to see that you don't have to have massive results in any one area. But if you can just get 10%, 20%, or maybe even up to 50%, you can have huge results in your business. So for instance, if we have a baseline of 1,000 leads with a 25% conversion rate, that leads to 250 net sales. Transactions, 10. Higher prices, let's say we charge $100 for whatever it is we do. And remember, make this applicable to your business. Maybe it's $20, maybe it's $500, whatever it might be. So that gives a revenue of $250,000. At 25% gross profits, that's $62,000. Now let's come over here and let's add 10% to that. So now, rather than a leads of 1,000, we've got 1,100 leads. That takes us to 27.5. Now we've got 303 sales, or if you want to put that as memberships, however you want to put it. So we've gone from 10 to 11 transactions, from $100 to $110, and that takes the revenue from $250 to $366. That's pretty impressive. And all we've done is increase these baselines by 10%. We've got a 27.5 increase in profit. So our profits have gone, after we take out expenses, from $62,000 all the way to $100,000. So how about if you go 50%? 1,500, 37.5, that takes our sales to 563. That goes transactions from 11 to 15. That goes the higher prices, it goes from 110 to 150. Now all of a sudden we're over $1 million. That should make anybody excited who's got a calculator with them or looks at that. And if we get expenses improved to 37.5, so we go from a net profit of $62,000 to over $400,000 by just making some changes in these areas. So that's a 760% increase. And so this little thing here we call this profit calculator shows you how you can transform your business big time. So we're going to go through some of these areas now and break them down a little bit more in detail. This is one of the ads that we put up. I get a lot of questions from my clients about, marketing. Where should I market? What should I say? And a lot of people will say things like this. They'll say, I've tried advertising in the newspaper. It didn't work. It was a total failure. And what I usually tell them is probably not the medium that's the failure. It's probably what the ad is saying. All right. It's probably what the ad is saying. So let's take an example, this particular ad. This is from a daycare center. And one of the things that you always want to ask yourself when you're looking to see whether an ad is any good or not, whether it's going to be effective, is you ask yourself this question. If someone could say, well, I should sure hope so, then it really is not a very good ad. So let's look at this particular ad. It says back to school, and it says now enrolling infants, toddlers, preschool, after school programs, structured curriculum for all ages. Now, if I'm a parent looking for a daycare center, anything about this right now seem very exciting to you? I mean, it says a structured curriculum, and my response would be, I should hope so, right? I mean, I hope it's not a chaotic curriculum. So that's not exciting. Great location. I would hope it would be. Free nutritious food provided. Well, I mean, I hope they're not going to provide M&Ms and cupcakes and pizza every day. So see, none of this passes that test of I should hope so. So this is a really bad ad. And this is what one of our former clients was doing beforehand. So this was mailed to every area you could think of in a 5-mile radius. What are the results of this ad? No calls whatsoever. And I got to tell you, in marketing, there is nothing more demoralizing than to put all kinds of money and effort into an ad and get 0 calls from it. It really is. So this was a complete failure. Now, one question I do get, and I don't believe I put this on the last one, so I'll put it on this one, and it's this: how do you really know if your ad's any good or not? Well, we've just told you one way to ask the question, I should hope so, but there's this thing that we use called the conversion equation evaluator. And this goes through and asks and it basically gives you a grade on your ad. And if anybody out there would like to have their ad graded, I'll do that at no charge, just to help you out. But you can go through and basically you can give your ad a grade, and it goes from 0 to 5. And so, the first one, for instance, it says interrupt. It says no headline at all, company name or play on words. And then you go down to 5, it says powerhouse. Headline is powerfully worded and hits hot buttons passionately. So do you think that would get a 5 on that scale? Absolutely not. That fails that test. The next one, engage. Does this ad engage people? Does it promise to educate and facilitate a decision? No, not really. So let's go on to the next one. Building your case. Does it build a case? And remember, if you don't interrupt someone, if you don't get their attention, then you're not going to have a chance to educate because they're gone. People have the attention span of a rat. I mean, it's very quick. And if you don't get their attention, you will not have a chance to educate. But once you do get their attention, and we're going to assume that you're able to do that, at that point, do you build your case? Is there any kind of case built here? No, we're talking about nutritious food and all this other stuff. What about risk reversal? Is there an excellent, obvious choice for now, future buyers? Is there an irresistible and compelling offer? Anything that's going to make me want to make a decision to use their business? We go back here. Not really. It says bring a free postcard for registration. That's pretty weak, to be honest with you. And then we go in and we talk about, is there a powerful, passionate, and precise and elegant format? Not really either. It's okay. It's pretty. It's got some color to it, but nothing to write home by with that either. So what we do is get a ton of points on this, and we can really determine whether or not the ad is any good or not. And I really believe you need to keep things in marketing as objective as you can, rather than just saying, well, it looks good, I think it might be good. We need to try to have some facts to decide whether or not what we're doing is working so we can test those things. So that sort of brings us up to where we are today, to our new information. So we're going to talk about more transactions. And this is how we convince clients, patients, customers, whatever, to buy more often. And this is really, as you know, is the lifeblood of any business. I mean, I can go in, if you're selling websites, and I can buy a website from you, but if I do that, and that's all you offer, once I buy the website, that's it, we're done, all right? However, if you offer ongoing training, things such as that, ongoing maintenance for that, then you have a long-term relationship with your clients. So I would ask you, I see where somebody else is joined here, I would ask you in your business to ask yourself the question, how can I be of more service on an ongoing basis to people rather than just an initial sale or whatever it might be? So let's talk about some of these ways. So we want to increase transactions with your prospects, getting them to buy more frequently than they do now. So we talk about upselling, cross-selling. These are the fastest ways and the least expensive ways to be able to do that. So we want to offer more products and services to your clients. If you own a gym, is there something else you could offer that your clients could benefit from that currently somebody else is giving them? If so, that's something you may want to think about. There's all kinds of ideas there. All right. So let's talk about the upsell cross-sell for a minute. So upsell means offering a higher grade or quality or size of the item that the person may be interested in at the point when the customer is ready to buy. So let me give you a good example of this in the real world. So let's talk about McDonald's, that wonderful nutritious place where we go to get all our organic food from. So when you talk about McDonald's, one of the biggest things that people do, like McDonald's or not, they really are, marketing genius. And one of the things that people always want to know when they come to town, when there's a new restaurant, Cookout followed this protocol. You may not know that, but Cookout followed this protocol. They ask one question: where's your McDonald's located? That's what they want to know, because McDonald's has spent the millions and millions, perhaps billions of dollars on marketing and research to know where to put their business. So if I'm, some kind of business and want to know where to go, that's my question. And that's exactly what Cookout asked, and I'm sure other businesses: where's your McDonald's at? So we know that they know what they're doing as far as the marketing standpoint. And McDonald's does a real good job of upselling with this. And what is it McDonald's does? If you go in and I say I want to get I don't know what they offer, the quarter pounder meal deal, whatever it is there. And they look at me, and their people are trained, and they're trained to say, hey, would you like to add a cookie for $1.50? That's what they do very often. Would you like to add an apple pie to that? That's called upselling. And that's upselling at its basic level. Now, you think about in your business, how can you upsell somebody? Might it be a piece of apparel that you can sell? Might it be a membership at a specialized price for their family member or their friend? Might it be a package deal? I mean, there's various ways of doing this, but this is called upselling. And I hope that right now in your brain, you've got things spinning and you're thinking about ways that you can do this in your particular business. And what about cross-selling? Cross-selling means offering other products or services which complement what the customer is interested in at the point when the customer is ready to buy. So an example of that would maybe not be upselling, but it might be, let's go back to McDonald's again. And the person has already said, no, I don't want the large size. I don't want the upgrade. So at this point, they're not going to buy more from you in terms of upgrading what they have, but maybe they want to buy something to complement what they've got. So let's go to Olive Garden. You go to Olive Garden, they cross-sell all the time, don't they? They bring around their wine, they bring around their desserts and all this stuff. That's called a cross-sell. And so they're able to sell you things that you hadn't thought about. A piece of cheesecake, hadn't thought about cheesecake. I love cheesecake. So all of a sudden I had no clue that I wanted any cheesecake, but now I'm buying cheesecake, right? So this is how they're trained to do it. And again, cross-selling can be put into any kind of business out there. And this is interesting. 34% of prospects will buy additional services or products at the time of the purchase if they are asked to do so. 34%. That's a pretty good stat. So if you're not cross-selling, you need to be. You're missing out on a lot of business. All right, this is an example of cross-sell. All right, or an upsell, rather. So this is an automotive place. And you can see here they've got, free full service, lube jobs and things like that. It's a $35.99 value. So what they're offering something for free, because this is a deal when they put this ad out. They know that they're trying to create the opportunity for additional upsells and cross-sells, because what they want to do is they want to position the customer in front of the salesperson while creating the perception of adding massive value. So let's break that apart for just a minute. So one of the things that we do, in our office here, because sometimes people have insurance that covers our care, sometimes they don't. And I guess I'll be a little bit cocky, arrogant for just a minute if I can. We're very good at what we do here, all right? We're very good at what we do. We have been for a long time. And I know that very often, if a client or patient comes to the office, they're going to get great care in our office. Now, maybe their insurance doesn't cover what we do, but what I like to do is get them in the office so I can at least have a chance to talk to them and explain our procedures. Once they know that, then very often they're very quick to say, well, look, I feel like you'd be worth it even if I have to pay for it. And generally they are, and they're very excited, and they're very happy about their decisions. So whatever profession that you're in, you want to have an opportunity to get in front of people. And the problem is, if you don't do this with the cross-sales and upsells, very often you never get that chance. If I'm competing with the gym owner in Fuquay or Lillington or wherever it might be, if I don't have an opportunity to get in front of that person and show them what I've got, I never get the chance. So you've got to think about ways that you can implement this into your business. Let's take another example. So here's a dentist that offers basic dental services like exams and teeth cleaning. But this is not where they make their money. If you had any dental work done lately, you know that's the case. So the vast majority of the revenue comes from cosmetic services, root canals, fillings, and things such as this. So what might convince someone to leave their dentist? What might make somebody want to say, I want to try another dentist? Well, there's about 85% of the population that have medical insurance, but only about 50% have dental insurance. And of course, this changes from where you live and things like that. But among those without dental insurance, 44% said the main reason they didn't visit the dentist was because of this reason. So if you're a dentist and you want to increase your business, you should see an opportunity here, all right? So what do you think might happen if the dentist targeted families without dental insurance and offered virtually the same services as those with insurance, but without paying expensive monthly premiums? Here's an example of this dentist ads that we worked on. So again, here's the ad. It says, let's think about this for just a minute based on our earlier discussion on ads. So if I'm someone that really would like to go to the dentist, I need my kids to go to the dentist, I don't have dental insurance, I can't afford to go pay $3,000, whatever it might be. So this ad, it says, no dental insurance, no problem. So right away, you look at that, and that's got my attention because I need dental services, but I don't think I can afford them. So we've got the interrupt that's very, very good on this. And then just below it, it talks about, it engages. Right down here, you can look, it says, don't waste thousands of dollars on dental insurance premiums. So it does the engage, it does the education. And then down here, it's hard to see, but it offers something here, okay? So this is what the ad looks like. So this is an example of upsell cross-sell. So the dentist, by offering a routine exam and cleaning for $25, he covers the cost of the treatment. And then they upsell all additional services they need, such as fillings, dentures, braces, etc. This is exactly like the oil change shop did on the previous ad that I showed you. So what I'm trying to tell you here is it doesn't matter what business you're in. I don't care if you're a dentist, if you work at a car shop, whatever. There's always opportunities to do that. And so in your mind, you should be thinking about what those are. So the secret to more transaction is to implement an upsell and cross-sell strategy. And I've basically just touched the surface on this. There's tons and tons of ideas and things you can do to do this. But these are sort of the basics. So I want you to rate this in your business and ask yourself the question, where in my business would I be able to accomplish this, or how could I improve my business on this? Higher prices. So how are we going to increase prices without losing any sales? So the key to increased pricing is value. That's the key. And bundling is a grouping together of certain products to create packages that are then sold to clients. So when you do this, you completely eliminate price and competition. Here's an example. So most sunrun companies offer a substantial discount as their primary offer. Here's an example of that ad. This is one of the people that we work with. This is an example of a bad ad right here, okay? So it says, come visit our showroom, which is exactly what everyone else says in the world, right? I mean, if I go to 10 different sunroom companies, they're all going to say the same thing. Come visit us our showroom. $2,000 off. Well, we all know based from other types of things, whether you go to buy a car or whatever it is, when they say $2,000 off, they probably raise the price $3,000 and give you $2,000 off, right? So this is not at all impressive, and we are way too savvy today for this to be an effective ad. Now, let's talk about one that's much, much better. And this guy right here that did this, he really rocked it. So what's a much more compelling offer that actually generated more profit? So this particular guy, and it's hard to read, but I'll read it to you in a minute, but it says a free $6,200 bonus package. Includes completely furnishing your new sunroom with sofa, love seat, chair, ottoman, 2 end tables, coffee table. He made a deal with the furniture supplier to purchase a set of quantity furnishings annually in exchange for receiving their wholesale price of $1,600 per set. So in other words, he worked out a deal with the manufacturer to get a lot of stuff in volume. He's able to pass this along to the people that he's working with. So I'm going to ask you, if you were going to get a sunroom and you were going to spend whatever it costs, 10, 15, 20, whatever it costs to do that, which one of these would you be more inclined to buy from? The one that says $2,000 off on something they just raised $4,000 or $5,000, or, you know, all this free stuff, right? I mean, this is pretty good. And so he still comes out ahead and he sells tons more sunrooms. So that's something to think about. How can you bundle stuff in your business? What can you offer as a package? And once you're able to do this, and again, just like previously, there are tons and tons of ways that you can do that, which I'll be happy to help you with. This sort of lets you know what some of those are. So you got to implement a bundling strategy in whatever field you're in. So rate this, if you would, in your business, and you know, be thinking in your mind, in my current business, how can I apply this to what I'm doing? More profits. So how are we able to skyrocket profits and dominate markets like the one that you're in? So there are two major ways to increase your profitability. You can either increase your prices or decrease your cost. Option one is to increase revenue by raising your prices. And option two is to decrease your cost of doing business by cutting your labor. So let's talk about the easiest way to increase your profitability. That's just to raise your prices. Most small businesses have not raised their prices since never, all right? So they're scared to death that any price increase, no matter how small, will lead to an exodus of all their customers. So let's say that you sell a widget for $100, 30% profit margin, and you decide to increase your price 10%, make it $110. So the question is, will that small increase really lead to a loss of customers? A few are going to leave, but I can tell you this from experience. They're most likely your biggest price shoppers, and they have no loyalty or patronage whatsoever to your business, all right? That's just the way it is. But even though there will be some customer attrition, to what extent? If your business is now making an additional $10, all of this, which is profit, that's a 33% profit increase in your business. So, you know, for your business to make $1,000 in profit selling your widgets at that price, you will need to sell over 33 widgets. But by increasing your price 10%, you only have to sell 25 widgets, right? So that means just to break even, your business is going to have to, you know, lose these customers over a measly 10% price increase. And that's not going to happen. If you follow the procedures that we've showed you so far, you're not going to lose that many people. Of course, we always want to err on the side of caution, and you want to test anything that you do. We always like to test our marketing to see what effect it's going to have. But there's simply no faster or easier way to generate additional revenue. So the secret to higher prices is to raise them. All right, that is, go back and take a look at when you've raised your prices. And so I want you to rate this in your business. Do you feel like you have the ability to raise your prices? And if not, why not? My experience has been that when you don't raise your prices, this is typically more of a mindset, a problem that you have, not based in reality. I'll be frank with you, okay? And stop discounting. So the real key in increasing your profitability is to offer more value than your competition. Prospects will pay twice the price if they believe they're receiving more value. If you don't believe that, I want you to see a list of all the people that can't wait for Starbucks to be open and done, all right? They cannot wait. I'm telling you, you got teenagers that don't have 2 dimes to rub together. They don't know how they're going to buy an $8 cup of coffee. But guess what? I can promise you when it opens, and it's going to be soon, you won't be able to get in for a while, all right? You're going to be fighting every teenager and every college kid within 100 miles for an $8 cup of coffee. So I tell you, they will pay twice the price if they see the value in it. And I can give you several other examples as well. But unfortunately, businesses, in a vain attempt to increase their value, they offer discounts, and that destroys their margins. So if some businesses will discount their price by a mere 10%, now they have to sell 50% more just to break even. So for an example, if you sell a widget for $100 and you got a 30% profit margin, you make $30 for every widget you sell. That means your cost basis for that widget is $70. If you discount that widget 10% and now sell it for $90 instead of $100, cost basis is still $70. That didn't change any. But now you're making only $20 in profit instead of $30. And for this business to make $1,000 in profit selling their widgets at $100, you're going to have to sell 33 widgets. But by discounting their price 10%, now they have to sell 50 widgets. And they have to sell 50% more widgets to get back to their original profit margin. But consider this. When was the last time you saw a business offer a measly 10% discount? Most of the time they offer 20%, 40%, and then they scratch their heads wondering why they went broke. And to add even more bad news, unfortunately, most of the time we've been conditioned that if we don't see a discount of, 20, 30, 40%, 50%, we're not interested anymore. So I would ask the question, so the secret to generating more profit is to stop discounting. If you're discounting, you need to rethink that. And you want to rate that to your business and ask the question, how can I get away from this madness of the discount? So we go back in, and again, just to show you these small incremental gains in just a few areas of your business can be very, very transformational. If you look at the bottom line, you got gross profits there that go from $62,000 all the way up to almost $500,000 with a 50% increase on doing just a few things a little bit differently. Now, this is one that doesn't apply to every business, and it may or may not apply to you, but I'm going to put it in here because it might to some. And that is what we call licensings and franchising. If you happen to have a business that this would relate to, this is something that we can talk more about later, but I'll just throw that in there because it is important. So we're going to go now and transition to a couple of what I call insider tips. These are things that you can use very successfully in your business. One is about market dominating websites. As you can imagine, we could do probably a whole month's worth of information on websites and still have more to do. I have all that information at my disposal. So I'm going to hit some high spots today, and maybe at some point, Heather, down the road, we could just deal specifically with websites or specifically with social media stuff. But that being said, let's talk about how we design market dominating websites. So we talk about websites versus landing pages. Most websites are truly a complete waste of money, because really all they do is they have nice little things that they say about you and the people that in your business, and it's all neat. But most websites, to be honest with you, really are just a way for people to find out how to find your business once they've made the decision to use you already. Okay, back in the old days when we had bad websites, people would come to us and they'd say, well, how did you find us? And they would say, your website. And then I would ask more questions, and what I found out was that they were actually referred to me by somebody else. So the website didn't really determine whether they came to see me or not. It was just how they found out where my address was and all that good stuff. So we want to talk about a landing page. A landing page is something that actually moves somebody to want something or want more information. That information might be a video. It might be a report. It might be a video recording. These are the types of things that are on a landing page. And a landing page is basically like a website, but there's no navigational bar. You don't go around from this site to the next site. And remember, we did this on the previous webinar, so I would recommend you go watch it, because we talked about, one example we gave was a psychologist. And the psychologist had a very bad website, and he changed that over to a landing page, and his business just took over. Understand that when people are looking for your business, whether you own a gym, whether you own a donut shop, they're looking for something specific, all right? So if I go to a gym, maybe I'm looking for Pilates, maybe I'm looking for cheer competition, I'm looking for something specific. So we don't want to get in the habit of selling too many things to people right away, or otherwise you confuse them and they just go on to something else. So landing page is a very, very specific type of thing that we use. So what happens is, people typically go to your home page and they see a menu on all these other stuff they have to do, and they offer so many options, it just really is confusing to them. So here's an example of a landing page. So remember, and we talked about this previously, but every ad that you do, regardless of where it's at, whether it be on a website, a postcard, whatever, needs to follow the IEEO protocol. It needs to interrupt. So you got your headline, I'm looking at the picture from the bottom right. So you got your headline, and that interrupts, okay? That's got to be something that gets their attention. The subheadline below that, that's where you actually engage and educate. And then the bottom left, it has a video that you can watch on whatever product you're selling. And then it has an area to the right where they will put their email address and sign in. That's basically right there a landing page. Here's an example of a bad website ad that they do. And this, again, is just, you know, look, people don't care about you, they care about themselves. And this is a moving company, and in their ad, they've got all the great things about their moving company in there. No hidden charges. Well, I would hope so, right? I mean, I hope you don't have any like fake charges in there. So none of these things are very exciting at all. Okay, this is a bad example. Another bad example right here. Basically, this ad this person has in there just talks about how great they are, what they have to offer. So you want to go through and really make sure with your website that you have a landing page, and that landing page needs to be for a specific product, okay, or a specific service. So that might mean, we specialize in chocolate donuts. It's very niche oriented. We specialize in, caramel lattes, whatever it might be. You want a very specific area that makes a person feel like you're talking to them directly. Very, very important that we do that. So count the number of times in your ads you use I, we, our, you talk about yourself. And, if you really track that, the results will shock you. We like to put I, me, everything about us. Here's another example of a bad ad. It says, well-established service company. Wow, I'm so impressed. Cynicism there. They've been around since 1991. Okay, so does that mean that another company that started in 1990 is better? They have unsurpassed customer service. And what does that mean exactly? Think about that for a minute. That means absolutely nothing to the prospect. So this is an example of a very bad ad or very bad website that you've got. All right, so here's a really good one. How about look at this one? All right, so furnace out. So look, winter's coming, all right? And if my furnace or whatever goes out and I see this ad, you've got my attention. Is your furnace out? Yeah, it sure is. Is your house freezing? Yeah, it sure is. Do you need someone within the hour? Absolutely. All right. And then it says, now you've got my attention. So now I'm all yours. 3 ways we guarantee your heat will be back within 90 minutes. And you've got to decide in your business what your promises are going to be. It's different for everybody. Okay. And then there's a quick video of that, and 90 minutes to heat guaranteed. So right now, look, I'm yours. I'm going to call you. You've given me something that I need right away. This is an example of a very, very good ad that uses the IEEO protocol. So you want to be thinking about in your business, do you currently use this? So the real purpose of marketing is, whether you hire a professional, write down your own marketing materials, you've got to understand what marketing is supposed to do. 3 things. It's got to grab the prospect's attention. It must facilitate the prospect's information gathering and decision making. And it must provide a specific low risk way to take action and make a good decision. So it can't do just one of those. It's got to do all 3. So let's review all these 3 areas. It must grab the prospect's attention. If it doesn't, it's worthless and honestly a complete waste of time. And it doesn't matter what medium you use, you have to be able to do it correctly. All right, you got to have the IEEO protocol in everything you do. All right, so we're going to move over to and totally change gears here, and we're going to go into social profiling, which is very, very, very important in any business. Now, I don't care what business you're in, and forget business for a minute. This is big in life. Once you learn how to do this and do this very well, your success will go through the roof. Now, there's all kinds of ways that you can classify this. There's training you can take. You can spend big money on the training called DISC profiling. There's all kinds of things, but this is the way I like to break it down because this is simple. I believe in simple stuff. So everybody that you come in contact is going to be a director, a thinker, a relator, or a socializer. Some people are going to be, in fact, most people will have a little bit of maybe 2 in there. I have 2, my wife has 2, but there are some that are strictly one or the other. And if you know how to communicate with these people in your business, and again, don't care if you have a hot dog stand or whatever, if you know how to communicate with these people, and I have gotten very, very good at this, then you're going to be successful in your business. So very quickly, and again, we could do a whole class on this too, Heather, as well. But a director is someone that wants it the way they want it, okay? They have to be the winner. They walk right in. They'll say, show me what you got. They don't like small talk. Get right down to business, okay? The thinker is someone that needs facts and figures. He needs to know, what's it going to cost? How many square feet? You know, all these types of things. The relator is someone that wants to give you a hug. Sometimes they cry, show you a picture of their grandkids. This is the relator. And the socializer really cares about telling you the party they went to last weekend. Well, look at what I did. And so there's all kinds of ways that you can tell which one of these people someone is. And the better you are at figuring this out, the more successful you're going to be in your business. Trust me, all right? Or in your life for that matter. So let me show you one little quick and dirty way that you can determine this before you even see the person, okay? Once you see the person, it becomes very obvious what they are if you know what you're doing. And I can usually tell within seconds which category somebody falls in, because this is the deal, folks. If you don't communicate correctly with these people, you're going to lose them as a client. You just will. If you think you can ramrod your way on some of these people, you're sadly mistaken. They're gone. They're history. However, if you know the way to deal with them, then you're going to be very successful. So let's talk about this for just a second. So let's talk about some things we can do in your paperwork. If you have a business that uses paperwork, all right, a form to fill out. So if I'm the head of the chamber and somebody has to fill out a form to be in the chamber or whatever it might be, I want you to pay attention to how they're filled out, all right? Again, this is something that I did a little experiment in my office, and I was able to be able to, before I even saw the person, know which category they were in. So let's dive right in just a little bit. So let's take a look at this paperwork. This is from a made-up name, obviously, but this is the front of the paper, and this is the back of the paper. Now, understand that relators and socializers tend to fill out paperwork very thoroughly. Sometimes they write stuff in the side margins, at the bottom margins. So you can see this particular person filled out the front of their paperwork very thoroughly. And then at the bottom, they put a comment, I really liked your article in the newspaper in your office. Now, I didn't ask them for that information, but they shared it, okay? So this is an example of how a relator, or perhaps a socializer, may fill this paperwork out. A director, trust me, is not going to fill it out like this. All right, they're not going to do it. And I'll show you an example of that in just a minute. So if I get this paperwork and I look at it, all of a sudden, I know right away what I'm probably going to be dealing with. Okay, so this is very valuable. You see all the information here. Now, let's take another, and you can see they fill all this out back here. So let's take this another example of someone. So this is someone else that fills out a piece of paper. What do you see filled out on here? Basically, I mean, this is usually, what help is this to me? They don't fill out anything. They got their name. That's about it. You look at the back, there's nothing circled. Big chunks of stuff's not filled out. So who do you think might fill this out? What kind of person? Be a director. Be a director. Directors ain't gonna fill out no dang paperwork. I ain't got no time for that. I don't need to fill it out. What's the point in filling that out? So you can see how, by looking at how they fill something out, you can tell in your business, you know, what kind of person you're dealing with. So you may want to think about that the next time and try that experiment. And I can promise you I'm right about it. Try that experiment and see how they fill out their paperwork. And that can tell you what kind of person you're dealing with, which then can give you a game plan on how to communicate with that person. And there's all kinds of strategies that we can use that I'll probably use in a future webinar that will show how we're able to do that. All right. So one of the things that I want to do at this point is I offer people that have watched this presentation the opportunity to have a business assessment. And we call this 30K in 90 minutes. And what that means is I will absolutely show you in your business how you can find a minimum of $30,000. We did this last week with someone. I think we found $36,000, and they were just starting their business. If you have an established business, it'll be somewhere usually between $30,000, sometimes $150,000 in untapped potential. This is money that you can find within your business that can immediately catapult your business, your practice, whatever, to a new level. Now, this is not play money. This is not monopoly. This is real money that's untapped in your business. Folks, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I can promise you that. This is not some kind of sales deal in disguise. I'm doing this for two reasons. Reason number one is I want to see every business succeed that I can in this area. That's number one. And the second thing is I'm always looking for case studies. I'm in the process of writing a book, and I'm always looking for case studies. And the only thing that I ask in return for people is that if I do, and not only do I find the money for you, but I also give you a roadmap, show you how to get there. And the only thing I ask in return is if you own a donut shop, that you allow me to use that as a case study in my book. Would love to use your name and your business, but I don't have to. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine. But what I do is I do case studies essentially. And so it's almost like the chicken soup for the soul. There might be a chapter on the donut shop owner, chapter on the coffee shop, or whatever it might be. And I use these case studies. That's all I really ask in return. But this is pretty exciting stuff. And the person I did this on the other day was just amazed at how much untapped potential they had in their business. There's absolutely no charge for this. There's 45 minutes is what it'll take. I will tell you folks, I am very, very busy in my business. I still practice full time. I have carved out enough spaces to do some of these and to work with some of my clients. I want you to take a picture of this screen. The time trade at the bottom is what you'll go to basically sign up for a slot. I usually keep 2 or 3 slots a week. I would recommend that you do that today before they get taken up. And we'll meet for about 45 minutes. I'll show you where to find the money in your business. I'll give you a road plan. I won't sell you anything. I won't charge you a dime. And I think you'll be amazed at how much you'll be able to get out of that. If for some reason you struggle with the time trade, you shouldn't. But if you do, that's my email address right above it. You can email me and we'll get you signed up for it. So I would highly encourage you to take advantage of this. You will not find this anywhere, I can promise you. So with that, I'm going to leave this screen up. And Heather, we've got a few minutes left for questions. If you have any, I would love to entertain those at this point. And by the way, before we do that, guys, we do have 2 more of these webinars coming up in the next few weeks. So if you would, go ahead and help Heather out and sign up for them right away so that she can get those scheduled. So this time I'll quit talking, and Heather, take any questions that anybody might have.
Great, absolutely. So if anyone has any questions, Chris, Jenny, or Tammy, thank you for joining us. Sorry, we might have missed you a little bit at the beginning, but we can certainly make this presentation available to anyone so that you can go back and watch it from the very beginning. But if anyone has questions, we'd love to have you go ahead and ask them now. Just feel free to unmute yourself, or if you feel more comfortable doing this personally, one-on-one, like Dr. Bradham said, you can always email him. But I do just want to reiterate, he was talking about the future presentations. We'll have 2 more business success seminars with the coronavirus boot camp. The next one will be on November 11th, and the final one will be on November 25th. They will both take place at 12 p.m. And if you just let me know here at the chamber, we'll get you registered so that we can get you the link to the meeting ahead of time so that you have time to know when to get on and so on and so forth. But Chris, did you have questions?
Yes, I'd like to ask some questions. Okay. So in my kind of business right now, it's really tricky as far as having so many children or increasing the number. It's a little bit difficult. The only thing I would be interested in a business assessment. I definitely would, and you can use this as a case study. We definitely have, like, I understand about cross-selling, upselling. I do have some challenges on that. I don't like selling anything that people don't need, and I'm sure you agree with this.
Absolutely.
Just like if, you know, as far as what I'm offering, I do believe in the 2 products. Like if I have somebody coming in here for after school, I do want them to try a class, because a lot of times they get a benefit, whether they want to take or not, they get some kind of benefit out of it. But as far as like, you you know, I still have some hangups. Like I'm from a family of 3, so we never got to take gymnastics. We never got to do anything if it wasn't free, basically. So I try to keep it where just what a customer needs. If they want more, that's fine, but I don't push any of that on them.
Okay.
So the only other question I do have is, like, we're having trouble marketing, getting things to go together with our system. Because I would love for Heather to be able to pay online for Henry. I would like those kind of things. It's just a real challenge for us getting it to work. And we supposedly have some help with that, but we've had help in the past, and it didn't work out so good. So yeah, there's a lot of things we can do, but my wife and I are so run down because we're here constantly, day and night, because of our business of what we do right now.
All right, so let me address all 3. So the first point that you made, and please understand, Chris, my job is to help you. So I don't want you to think I'm coming across sarcastic or whatever. I'm just trying to be serious and trying to help you. So a lot of this is going to be headspace issues. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you are confident in your product, and I think that you are, because I know people are satisfied with your services, and if you believe in that totally, let me give you an analogy. People come into me, okay? And if there's anybody from Walmart watching this, you're probably going to be mad and send me a nasty email. I'm sorry. But if anybody comes into my office and I care about my patients, and they came in because they've got a back problem, they came in specifically for chiropractic adjustments. Now, if that patient comes in and I'm also a digestive specialist, a lot of folks don't know that. But let's say they didn't come in for digestive problems. They came in for their back. But they come in and I find out through an assistant or someone else they've got digestive problems. Do you think I should ask them if I can help them with that or not? Because look, if they don't get help from me, they're going to go to Walmart and they're going to buy some kind of, you know, supplement that may or may not help without any guidance whatsoever.
Right.
So who should they get that from? Should they get it from me, someone that's been trained, or go to Walmart and have the minimum wage person say, yeah, we got that in yesterday on the shelf, it might help you? So in my mind, if they're going to get that help, they ought to get it from me. I'm the professional. In your particular case, you're the one that has, you know, the elite gym. You have these things that you do, and if you're confident in that, if someone comes in, you give them a choice. You say, look, Miss Jones, you're here for this. I think you'd benefit from this, and this is why I think you would, and give them the reasons. Now, does that mean they're going to buy from you right now? No. But it might mean they might buy from you next month or next year or whenever it is. This is called downselling. This is called drip. About that in the previous thing. Look, you got to offer these services. It's not a hard sale. Look, if this person comes into me and they say, I don't want your stinking digestive supplements, guess what I say? Fine, great, no problem. I don't push that on them, okay? But it's my obligation to tell them what I can do to help them. And I think it's your obligation to tell them what you can do to help your clients, period. Whether they get it, that's them, not you, okay? So you've got to start making those recommendations, okay? You've got to do it. Number 2, you mentioned a lot of the marketing that has not worked well in the past. And I want to be very blunt. That's because a lot of the marketing is really a bunch of crap. It's not good. It really isn't. I mean, it doesn't follow the IEEO protocols. It doesn't engage anybody, doesn't interrupt. They're usually filled with platitudes about how great you are and how clean your business is. Remember, when you say those things, my response is, well, I should hope it would be. I don't come to your gym and find vomit on the floor and mice everywhere. So that doesn't really tell me a whole lot. So you got to have marketing done correctly, or you can spend and waste tons of money. The third point you brought up was about you and your wife being beholden to your business. You got to change that, Chris. You really do. That's not going to work forever. I can promise you that. I'll never forget my father-in-law, who retired a few years ago from a very successful business. When I first started, I said, well, his name is Bill. I said, Bill, should I take off Fridays or Thursdays, or should I work 7 days a week? What should I do? And I knew nothing back in those days. Trust me. He said, let me tell you something. He said, I know you're passionate right now. He said, but one day this passion is going to become a little bit of a job for you. And when it does, you need to make sure you're still around to be able to do it. He said, you got to pace yourself. You got to be smart about how you work. And one of the things you're going to have to learn to do is situate your business in such a way that you don't always have to be present to win. I like that saying. You don't have to be present to win. That means your gym can operate with or without you. And I know that's like blasphemy right now. I say that, you're like, you are crazy to say that. But you're going to have to get where it can operate either with you being gone for periods of time or someone else that can do the work that you've got to do, okay? And that is something we can definitely help you on. But I just got to tell you, Chris, it's going to be hard to maintain that forever, and you're going to burn yourself out. And I hate to see that because the services that you offer are so valuable to this community. And I know that because I've got tons of patients that go use your business. But you're going to have to be able to make sure you have time for you and your family, and would be happy to show you how to do that. I have a schedule. It's called a 7x7 grid. And maybe I can show that on a subsequent webinar that I use. And on that grid, I have certain disciplines that I follow, and I don't break those things, because if I break them, I'm going back on my word to myself. So something like this may help you. We can discuss that later if you want to, okay?
This I will tell you this. This is something I do want to discuss, because
Yes.
we do have where I can leave for a period of time, but ever since the COVID, it's really thrown a major monkey wrench into a lot of people, not just us.
Yeah.
But a major monkey wrench.
Let me
because,
ask you this. When you say you can leave, do you mean leave physically or physically and mentally? There's a big difference. When you leave,
okay,
always
so
thinking about your
mentally, I've started getting away, as a matter of fact, but it is still hard mentally sometimes to get out of that. Like physically you can leave, but you're still thinking about it.
Gotcha.
Or what I could be doing.
Sure.
But so, and I've had to step back because we really need to talk, because I've started a separate business, and Heather probably might not even know, but I've made a bunch of gymnastics mats, and they look like they came right off the showroom floor of a factory.
Wonderful. 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 Yeah. So you've got to work on what I call B-level items. B-level items are things that you sort of tell yourself in your mind, and you got to be disciplined between the ears, okay? Because it doesn't do any good to be away physically if you're constantly thinking, oh my goodness, what's going on in the gym? I'm on my cell phone constantly. Ring, ring. I'm always answering it, okay? So you got to make sure you get your mind away from all that, or it really doesn't do any good, okay? So all those are things you're going to have to work on, and you've got to find a strategy, or else you're going to age yourself pretty quick, buddy. You really are.
But yes, I know my wife, she's not in, that's the thing, we're not able to be here together, but she would definitely be interested in some of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So those are all good questions, and they cover a lot of different areas, some simple, some not so simple, but they all have solutions. Tammy, are you out there? Maybe Tammy just doesn't have any questions. Okay.
There she is.
I am. I don't have any questions. What Chris said is very on.
Gotcha. Okay. And so some people, I certainly acknowledge some people don't like to speak out, and that's fine. You see my email address. You can email me. Any other questions? Anything else while you guys got me on the line? This is lunch break, and I'm fasting today, so I'm not eating, so I've got a little time here. Anybody else have any questions?
Just real quick from my end.
Okay, so
would both of you like me to sign you up for the next session as well? I can go ahead and get that taken care of for you today, so you don't have to try to remember to do it later.
That'd be fine. It's really hard during this time, but I'd love to look at it afterward. It's all recorded, correct?
Yes. I'm recording each session, and I can send them to you, so you can go back and review the ones that you're not able to make. But if I go ahead and register you, then I know that after the fact that I go ahead and I'm going to get it sent out to you.
Guys, and also I would say, just make sure you sign up for this time trade. I would get on the schedule today, because I don't have so many slots. I've sort of taken out a few slots in my week around my practice that I use. You will not see anything like this. I can promise you. We'll go through and we'll find this money in your business. We'll not try to sell you anything. I just want to show you how it works, and you can take it. Not only that, but I'll give you a roadmap on how to get the results from it. And I think you'll be pretty impressed with it. So make sure you go to the time trade, go in there, fill it out. If you run into roadblocks, and just send me an email and say, look, I'm having some struggles getting on. I don't think you will. And we can go from there. So take advantage of this, guys. That's all I've got. Any other questions? Anything else, Heather?
No, I think that's it. And then, like I said, Tammy, I'll go ahead and send you the recording from today. And Chris, I'll send it to you too if you'd like it again. That
Yes.
way you can go back and just kind of review it and look at it. And I'll also make sure that you both get the first recording as well. And so how that's going to work is we're going to actually post those on our YouTube channel. It'll be a private channel. You'll get a link to access that video, and you can go back and watch it as many times as you like. I just ask that if you not share it, if someone else would like access to it, if they'll contact us directly, we can help them with that.
And it'll have a link to this My Time Trade and everything, right?
We can make sure that's in the follow-up email as well. But like David was saying, some of these things are time sensitive. So I don't know, David, is this time sensitive to today, or is that just your actual page?
No, for you, it's not time sensitive as far as that goes. But what I'm saying is, if you can take a picture of this and you can go to Time Trade and fill this out right now, and that way the spots don't get taken, because I've only got about 3 or 4 spots a week that I do. Okay. And I would ask this, when you do this, think about a couple of things. Number one, think about, and certainly, as a doctor, I don't share information on any patient ever, and I'm sure you guys do that as well. If you can share some information on your profits, that'll make this a whole lot more beneficial for you. If you totally don't want to do that, we can make it generic, but I think you'll get more out of it if you're honest with me. And also, too, I want you to be thinking about some of your frustrations. What are some things that really make me lose sleep at night? What are some things that are frustrating me? Be thinking about that too, because all those are things that we'll use as we do it. So go ahead and go to that now, get signed up for it. It'll give me a link saying that, Chris signed up for it on such and such a date. It'll take about 45 minutes to do it, 30, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. And we'll kind of go from there. So with that, I have nothing else. Anything else, Heather?
No, I think that's it. And we hope to see you back on November the 11th for part 3. If not, we will get those sent out to everybody so that everyone has access to be able to delve into the information that Dr. Bradham's sharing with us, and certainly be able to utilize that in your business and have more information to have at your fingertips. And thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you have any questions, just feel free. You can always contact us here at the office, at the chamber office, and we'd be happy to collect your information, get the questions asked, and if we have to, we can kind of coordinate between yourselves, ourselves, and Dr. Bradham, and one way or the other. If we don't know the answer, we know somebody who does, and we'll help you get in touch with them.
And Heather, I want to say briefly, thank you for putting this on. This is such a, as I mentioned at the outset, we kind of feel like we're on an island sometimes as small business owners. And, we don't always get the opportunities. And I thank you for putting this on with your chamber, and look forward to the next ones.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Take care.